Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, on behalf of your Denver-based podcast crew, we appreciate you joining us for the Friendly Vibes.
Coming to you live from TSS Top Shelf Studios. Man, I am excited for this one, folks. I'm joined by what I think is one of the finest comedians in all of Colorado. And someone I'm excited to hopefully get down to the nitty-gritty of anything and everything conspiratorial. Mike Hammock is here with us.
What's going on, guys? Man, conspiratorial, ChatGPT.
We're starting out with, what does the AI know about you, Mike?
Yeah, I like the online presence, shares comedic reels about the female fear hierarchy and engages actively with fans. I don't know what the female fear hierarchy is.
That's hilarious that it thinks your material is, what is that? I don't know. Even I get the, cabal blasts every morning, the fire leftist updates. I'm supposed to know what, those phrases, topical things mean. But the female fear hierarchy, I have not heard that one. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, we don't need to get lost in yourself.
Yeah.
My goodness. So you're a Springs-based guy.
Live in the Springs, work, as it says, mostly out of Denver.
I've seen you perform and crush several times at Comedy Works South. It's always a joy to see you there. I love that your humor and jokes are thoughtful, always hilarious as a baseline, but just like, I like thoughtful, thinking things, and your material is great. So
Thanks, man. Thank you.
If you're a thinking person out there, check out his stuff.
Yeah, it was my crowning achievement now, my crowning joy in comedy is I did get a host for Dave Smith recently, who I think is very similar. His audience is like my audience. That was like the best show of my entire life. And it was great. I mean,
he's the man.
Dude, he is the man. Him and Robbie are just so fucking cool, dude. That was the best green room hang. It was just a blast. They're awesome. And that's kind of what I aspire to. I really like his long form political comedy, and that's who I was raised on. Like, I grew up watching Jon Stewart on The Daily Show. That was my entry into comedy, as into stand-up comedy, really. The Daily Show and guys like Jon Stewart.
How old are you?
I'm 38.
Okay.
38.
So you were in the golden era of that show during the peak period of you being a young man.
Peak Jon Stewart.
Epic.
And then, actually, my real entry into comedy was growing up in the Springs. It's very conservative town, very conservative city. They have, it was 8 o'clock every night, at least they did, old time radio shows. They had from the 1940s and 50s and 30s. They had Fibber McGee and Molly, George Burns and Gracie Allen, all of these Amos and Andy, Martin and Lewis, all these old comedy shows. And I would listen to those for an hour and a half every night. And that was, at the time, kind of like stand-up comedy. It was two people. It was a two-man show. And
is it like a sitcom on the radio?
Yeah, it's always, it's George Burns and his wife, or Fibber McGee and his wife, and they we gotta paint the house this week. And then it's just a bunch of, in essence, two-person bits about painting the house. It's
Gotcha.
The Sklar brothers painting a house.
Okay. I love that.
And that was comedy, because you were just sitting there listening to it on the radio. It was really interesting because then that switched to Bob Hope and all of oh my God, Joan Rivers, all these kind of single comedians came up, and I'm sure there were some at the time too. And then comedy went away from the two-man setup and went to the one-person setup, and now it's gone back with TikTok to the two-person setup, but one person plays both parts. So,
short form stuff.
Yeah, all these people, these kids on TikTok, they're doing 1950s radio comedy, but they're just playing both of the roles in each time now. Never, you don't have three guys doing a bit. You've got one guy playing all three parts.
One guy with BPD.
Yeah. And so, it's really interesting because I'm really bad at that kind of TikTok comedy. I'm bad at online humor like that. But I really, really like, obviously, the stand-up aspect of it. In essence, they're just doing two-man stand-up bits.
Interesting. I hadn't even connected.
So yeah, so that's how I started getting into comedy. I just listened to comedy every night, and then you get the political side. I saw Jon Stewart. I just never even knew something like that existed with The Daily Show.
Did you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah.
Who did you talk to about when you're learning about the world and things, your family, your parents?
My mom and my dad, they're both not political, but they're both pretty, they understand what's going on. And then I have an older brother. He's about 4 years older than me, and an older sister. And they're both, my brother especially knows a lot politically. He's way smarter than me, but they're not much into comedy. I was the only funny one in my house. And I think that's maybe just being the youngest in a conservative family, I thought, and then watching, super liberal Jon Stewart, I loved to kind of poke my dad with I would memorize whatever he'd said. I'd run and I would tell my dad word for word what he said.
I love that.
And,
I realized looking back that relatively conservative home, but Boulder public school system, I was kind of running a back and forth game of learning about the world and challenging either home
your teachers
or school.
hated you, your parents hated you,
Totally.
Everyone hated you.
Totally. Exactly.
Yeah. And the Springs it's loosened up a lot, but it's still a very conservative military and military industrial complex town. A lot of churches, a lot of army bases. And so I really like my comedy. I like to think of it as just kind of poking fun at people, generally on a political level. I think that's where most of my comedy ends up hitting. But then again, everything's been politicized now. You tell a joke about men and women, that's a political joke. Now it really is.
It really is
there used to be men are from Mars, women are from Venus, whatever, and that's we're never going to understand each other. But now it's why do you hate women?
Right.
And or what's wrong with blah blah blah? What's wrong with sex work? And it's well, okay.
Even when I write dumb jokes about words or silly street jokey word, I find myself I have a pumpernickel joke.
Yes, I love a good pun. It's the basis of all Western comedy.
In 2025, that joke is a political joke because it's about inflation now, right? I can't get away from the politics injecting itself into the silliness.
Yeah, the personal is political. That was the Democrats' running line in the 80s. Is the personal is political.
And you better buy in hook, line, and sinker all the way on each side. That's the part that I've never been able to...
No, and I grew up as a Republican. Like Tim Dillon says, I used to go around smoking cigarettes and defending Donald Rumsfeld. And that really was me in college. I was just a dyed-in-the-wool, hardcore Republican. CSU.
Okay, so that's very
same
liberal.
thing, just another kind of, conservative town.
But still, the campus is still...
Well,
still
all college campuses. If you go to,
That's
King's
fair.
School in New York, the biggest hardcore Christian school in the country, they're doing things I'm not 100% sure I agree with transubstantiation in the New Testament, and they're well, that's pretty wild. Let's calm down, kids.
Don't talk to John. He's off his rocker.
Yeah. So if you get a bunch of young people together, you're going to seem liberal by comparison.
Fair. That's very fair.
But but then I think it was.
What'd you study?
Sociology.
Interesting.
Sociology. It was the easiest degree I could get with the least amount of math. And I spent 6 years dropping in and out of college. Went and worked at a call center for 2 years, went back, dropped out, had to redo my first semester because I failed everything. It just took me a lifetime to get through college.
Were you educationally motivated through high school? You seem...
Yeah, I know. It was one of those days I didn't have to try that hard in high school. I was a B student for the most part. It was just, it just never... It's one of those things I could just, by not really paying that much attention to that much work, I could get a B. And so I never really learned how to study, and I never learned how to keep myself accountable. So then when I got to college, I would just go to class, and I thought this is all I need to do. And man, I was so wrong on so many of those. I'm also very ADD, and my first history class I took, I wrote the semester end book report, in essence, on the wrong book.
Oh,
I wrote it on the life of Frederick Douglass, and it was supposed to be They Fought Like Demons, which is about women in the Civil War. And I was just well, I've written this 8-page paper. Will you take this? And she's like, no. And so I failed that class. So what are we talking about?
Savage.
So then sometime around
So what year did you end up graduating after those 6 years?
Yeah, ended up graduating. And then
what year was that?
2013.
Okay,
I think.
Sorry, I just need some world context about you.
So I went from UCCS, did a semester there, to CSU for on and off for 4 or 5 years. Then I went to whatever the community college up there was, and then went back to UCC to CSU to finish my degree. And throughout all of these school switchings, I ended up actually taking the same psychology class 3 times. Because it had a different name at each school.
Right.
So when I graduated and walked from CSU, my fucking ADD brain, I applied for a job, and they're like, we don't have a record of you graduating from CSU. We can see you went, but we don't have a record. And I went back and I looked, and I was still 1 credit short, and I had to take an online class for that.
Whoa.
Yeah. It was something.
So they messed up and let you walk and...
Well, you can walk your first year. You just sign up to walk.
Oh.
Literally, no one will stop you from walking. You can walk every year if you want to. Yeah, you can walk all 5 years. They don't care. They don't check. You just sign up and say I'm done. I'm walking.
What?
So also, when they give you the degree, they give you like the little leather bound whatever. There's nothing in there. They mail you your degree. So like, they just handed me out. I just thought like, oh, that's it. My parents came and they were like, no. Nope, one credit shy still. Did that online. And even that one too, I messaged the professor. I was like, dude, I will do all of these tests right now, but I just explained to him what was going on. I'm like, can you please just pass me? And he just passed me.
That's epic.
Yeah.
Wow. And then what'd you do when you got out in the world 2013 with sociology degree?
Fucking sales jobs. Like everyone who has a bad degree. I went and worked in sales, did inside sales at a place called...
What, like organs?
Yeah. It was just like you were renewing contracts for like hardware for like different companies for like tape drives. And then I briefly worked for a weed startup. They were doing like a weed maps thing where they would like, Ooh. I don't smoke weed. I don't do anything. But they were like, you couldn't buy marijuana with a credit card.
Right.
So they would, through their website, sell you a gift card to this marijuana shop. And then you could take that so you could use a credit card. And I did that for like 3 weeks, and the people running it were just so awful. I just quit that, and then did outside sales for payroll for about 2 years. And I walked.
Hang on, I'm so dumb.
Yeah.
Tell me the difference. What is the inside outside?
So inside sales is you're sitting in an office making phone calls.
Okay.
Outside sales is you're actually going out to businesses.
It's just that easy.
Literally,
okay.
yeah.
Sorry.
You're literally outside. And so I worked for Paychex, which is a big payroll company.
Okay.
And their like setup was so old school. They sent you to 2 weeks to Rochester, New York to like learn all about their products and everything like that.
Whoa.
And then you'd go back and you'd get a territory. And my territory was the mountains. So I would drive from like where I lived to Idaho Falls and whatever, these little mountain towns. And I would go in a full suit. You had to be wearing a suit, door to door at strip malls, and be like, yo, do you guys need payroll? You'd be like, yeah, we're a functioning business. We have payroll. I'm like, can I convince you
to switch
to
providers?
Paychex with me, like a 25-year-old guy in a suit in the middle of summer?
Wow.
And I used to, so twice a week you had to drive into the office, which is out at the airport. And I used to cry in my car on the way to work every single day. I hated it so much. I was so miserable. Didn't know what to do with my life. And so then I eventually quit my job. Went to a cybersecurity boot camp, and it's
like a 6 week, 12 week,
12 weeks, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And
had a cousin that did that kind of.
I recommend it if you don't know what to do with your life. I mean, cybersecurity is a hard gig to get into these days, but it's way better than working your shitty job that you're too smart for, man. Like, get out there and do something else because there are options. I mean, right now, like, go become a plumber. Like, you can do that in like 6 months and you can be making so much fucking money doing that. But so anyway, I did that, and then I got really lucky and I got a job as a junior analyst for this like real estate company. Did that like contract for 3 months and then got picked up by a cybersecurity company. That's what I do now. I do customer relations for a cybersecurity company.
Wow. And you still enjoy it? You get to work with your brain enough?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, dude, this is the best job in the world. I highly recommend it. Cybersecurity is such a cool industry because I was originally going to be a cop.
Interesting.
That was my plan.
Was it just the mustache had come in and the look was there?
Yeah, I didn't even think I could grow a mustache at that point. That's why I wanted to be a cop.
It's a real egg before chicken thing.
Yeah, and it was one of those things like I went and I applied to a few police academies, and it's you got to do all of these just like how do you react under stress, and so I was kind of going through that for a few of them, and then like the George Floyd thing happened. And I remember being like, damn, I really don't want to be a cop right now. Like everyone I knew who was a cop was like, don't be a cop right now. This is the shittiest. Vinny Montez, who's a cop comedian. He was like, it is fuck. We were getting bottles thrown at us. And I was like, maybe I'll look at like, something cop adjacent, like cybersecurity. Something that has me sitting inside a little bit more.
Behind a computer.
Yeah, a little bit more. And it worked out really, really well. I'm glad I did not go into police work because that just seems like a fucking nightmare these days.
And you have kids, right?
Yes, I've got 2 kids.
So I'm going to get married in about a month, and so we're aspiring to have a family someday. But the circumstance, I'm sure, even for you at the time that you started your family, it was probably a similar thing where it's like the circumstances of the world. Like,
no, dude. I never worried about that at all. People had kids during the Mongol invasion, dude. People had kids through the Black Plague. People had kids through World War II. Just have kids. It's all going to be fine. You know, it's you know, what's the Joe Rogan bit? Why would you want to have kids when we have all these doctors and books? You know, it's honestly, it's fine. They're not that expensive. You know, they eat what you eat for the most part. Now, I always say I love kids. I recommend kids, just not my kids, because my 4-year-old has never slept through the night in his entire life. He's up 2-3 times a night. He's still in the newborn phase. We've never gotten out of it. And then my 1-year-old had a bunch of health issues. He had a hole in his lung when he was born. And so as a result of maybe that and maybe some other stuff, he's got like a bunch of like food allergies and intolerances. And so he's really underweight and all of that. So it's been stressful.
Yeah.
But again,
I can only imagine.
Highly recommend. Definitely. Kids are awesome.
Yeah, it seems like the single greatest like human experience part of this cognitive like thing, this weird conscious existence we get to have. It seems like the coolest part of it.
It really is. I mean, not only is just like there's, you know, it's stressful and it's exhausting, and you're going to birthday parties for other 2-year-olds that you don't want to be at.
Yeah.
There's all of that. But like, there's the fun part of like you get to experience all the things that you like for the first time again, which is so cool. You get to watch the movies from like the eye of a child, and you get to learn about animals through the eyes of a child, and that's tons of fun. But at the same time, you know, no offense to anyone who doesn't want kids or can't have kids or whatever it is. But if you don't have kids, you are just kind of running out the clock. You know, you are just kind of like seeing how comfortable can I make myself until I go.
A guy that likes philosophy, I'm like, how do you end up with any conclusion of analysis of that with other than like you're not living up to your role as a, you know, thing this thing. I don't know.
I mean, again, everyone is different. You know, if you literally can't make rent every month, don't have a kid. You know, figure out your life first. But
Mike, the government has lots of programs for people like this.
Dude, the TikToks of the women taking their kids to fucking Chili's on the taxpayer dime drive me up the goddamn wall, dude.
Me too, brother. As a young person that's never going to own property in this country, it makes me so
the amount of money and the fact that we're literally just federally subsidizing Chili's and Applebee's and all these restaurants that no one would go to otherwise.
And they're owned by private equity firms. So we're really just federally subsidizing BlackRock and State Street.
Yes, literally. And just doing it one literally poor person meal at a time.
And killing these poor people while doing it.
Yeah, it's not good for them. It's not healthy food. It's literally making them sicker, which is then federally subsidizing all of the Medicare and Medicaid and all the shit we got to pay for.
Which is why they have to do it.
Yes. But no. So again, you know, use common sense. If you can afford to have one kid, have one kid. I think the whole kids are too expensive to have is a bit of a cop-out. Unless maybe you're getting into 5 or 6 or 7 kids.
I've been using it hand up as a bit of a cop-out with my future.
They're not that expensive. Yeah, diapers are pricey, but they're only in diapers for like 2 years, you know? And again, you don't have to buy special formulas and all that shit. They eat what you eat. You know, your wife can breastfeed if she can, or, you know, baby formula. There's some really bad shit out there, but you can get some moderately good stuff from like Europe. You can get the European-based stuff that's way better, and they're fine. And then literally, I mean, honestly, my 4-year-old is in the top 90th percentile for height and weight. He just walks around on his knuckles eating chicken nuggets. And then my 1-year-old is bottom 10 percentile. He's tiny. He's a little like Gollum creature. And we, you know, the hardest part of a parent is just keeping the 4-year-old from murdering him, because he'll just pick him up and like shake him. That is literally 90% of the stress in my life is making sure the little one eats and that the big one doesn't kill him somehow and eat him.
Yeah.
But it's really, dude, like the money is not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially in the first couple of years. And honestly, nothing gives you more motivation.
Yeah, that's
to like get your life in key, like in order. Then like you got 9 months to make sure that you are secure at work. You got 9 months to really kill it, because otherwise, it might get stressful, you know. That is now, you know, the one thing that does stress me out is like, man, what if I lost my job or lost my house and I've got these kids? So, yeah.
But then you think about the Black Plague and you're like, oh, we'll be fine.
Yeah, but then again, people have lost their houses. And you look at what the Tennessee Power Company did to those people and
what
all those
Tell me about that.
So the Tennessee Power Company, they, in essence, back in like the 20s, they flooded all of these haulers in the South. That's where my family's all from. They're all from North and South Carolina and Georgia. And they went through, I'm pretty sure it's the Tennessee Power Company. They went through and they, for these big Great Depression public works, like we got to build dams, we got to get these people to work. And so they flooded the haulers, and they in essence just took these people who've been living in these valleys for generations and just flooded the towns.
What?
And they gave them all like, they gave them whatever amount of money to move or whatever. But these people had no land. They had no skills. These are like hill people.
And they eminent domain to the hill people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But even before eminent domain was really a thing, they really just said like, we're building a dam down here. The river is going to rise. So like maybe take some of this cash and get out of here.
Whoa.
And yeah. So if you watch that movie, that TV show Ozarks.
Oh, yeah.
The hillbilly evil meth company couple, they talk about how much they hate the Tennessee Power Company, the Tennessee River Authority or whatever it was, Power Authority.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, I mean, the more I learn about the world, the more I'm like, how can we sit on the side of big government or big corporation or big anything ends up with good outcomes for the hill people.
Yeah,
the hill people always get flooded by the big.
So this is the point. So like I grew up as like I grew up as like a hardcore Republican. I believed George Bush. I believed Colin Powell. I'm like, these are the good guys.
Dude, that 9/11, I was a younger kid. 9/11 is my first memory, but one of my first cultural memories of TV was the Frey song and some like dramatized propaganda show about 9/11. I remember the way it made me feel. As I was like, yeah, I get why people like go to war and die for this.
Oh, yeah,
like,
dude.
For propaganda.
I was all about, I was 14 when 9/11 happened. So I was, right at that age when you should be getting like politically wild. And I was like, nope, man, they hate our freedoms and we got to defend the homeland.
That's exactly how I would have been.
I was like, good, I want to be searched. I see why you see these. I see why you get these COVID people who are like, I still wear my mask in my car because, I want to be part of this. I was like, yeah, I don't give a shit about you. I want
surveil me. I don't give a shit.
Take my shoes off. We got to stop these people.
Damn.
So fuck. And so then sometime around like, I think it was during Obama, and he had all these promises about ending the wars and getting us out and then closing Guantanamo Bay. And I was a big like, no, Guantanamo, let's torture these motherfuckers, and then he didn't. And nobody seemed to give a shit. And I remember them being like really like, all my lib friends, they're all hypocrites. They don't understand anything. They don't really know anything. They're all just hypocrites. They don't actually want this shut down, blah, blah, blah. And then after him, they started passing like Obamacare, and they started passing like all these big spending bills, and the Republicans were just voting with it. I remember being like, wait, aren't we the small government people? Like, aren't we like the balanced budget people? Why are we like just going along? Because that was the first time we also had like, the money might run out. I'd never encountered that as a child. Like suddenly, like we might run out of money at some point. We got to pass this bill, otherwise the government will shut down. Like, what? And then everyone's just going along. I'm like, well, okay, I thought we were going to let the government shut down. And then Trump got in, and he seemed like a big kind of, F you to everybody. And then like he didn't really do much. And then we kind of like started, we know there was no new wars, great, but like they just kept spending. We kept spending, and we kept spending. And then we printed all that. We printed all that money during COVID. Printed all that fucking money, and everyone got like $1,200, and the 99% of it went to BlackRock and Chase. And
anyone
and Bank
that had
of America.
an LLC stole from the programs.
Yeah, there was almost no oversight, and it just, but it wasn't. It was just like, wait a second, we can't print all this money, and every single person in a position of authority was like, no, there will be no inflation. It'll be transitory. This won't affect anything. And I was like, the fuck is going on? And then they locked us all inside. And I was like, wait a second. Like Fox News was saying, like, you got to stay inside. You got to stay. Everyone was like, wait, is no one going to disagree with this? And I got a buddy who works for the Denver, what is it? The CDC.
Yep.
Or not the CDC. Yeah, it was the CDC, Department of Health or something like that. And I remember having dinner with him right before COVID kicked off. And I just bought a bunch of toilet paper because that Republican in me was like, I got to have shit. Like I had bought a bunch of like canned meats and shit. Yeah. And I remember asking him like, hey, do we need to worry about this? He's like, no, you don't need to worry about this. This is not going to be a big deal. And then like 2 days later, we're all locked inside. I'm like, that motherfucker lied to me. Like I've known him for years and he just lied to my fucking face. So that just, and then throughout the whole thing, he kept defending this, and all my friends were like, no, we got to flatten the curve. This is going to kill grandma. And then the vaccines rolled out. I'm like, I got vaccinated because I wanted to do stand up. That was like my thing. But throughout that whole process of the Republicans helping them print money, the COVID lockdowns, the Republicans going along with it, I just started to think, like during the time, I'm like, I don't think I'm a fucking Republican anymore. And part of that is just, growing up, I have gay friends, been in gay weddings and all of that. I'm like, I don't agree with this part of it. So the Republicans lost me socially and fiscally. And the liberals were never able to pick me up on either of those because the Republicans were just kind of going along with them for the most part. And so then I just was like, yeah, I think I'm something else here. And that's when I read Basic Economics by Thomas Sowell.
One of the best books.
One of the best books.
I was recommending it. I studied economics, and they never recommend that book through all of my college level economics.
If you want to have an understanding of economics, you just read Thomas Sowell's, and it looks gigantic, and it is. But the first 20 pages are full of so many interesting examples. And I was like, yeah, whatever he's kind of talking about, that's what I'm looking at. And that's when I voted for, and I'm off on my dates with some of this, but like Jo Jorgensen, I voted for her.
Gary Johnson.
I don't know if I voted.
Would you have been Trump at that side? That would have been the first Trump election.
I voted for Gary Johnson because I didn't vote for Trump the first time.
Yeah. I remember Bill was the Gary Johnson head.
Yeah, but Gary Johnson was a fucking idiot, dude. He was so stupid. Yeah. He didn't know what Aleppo was.
The whole way through. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, and so this last election, so that kind of made me a libertarian. And then, started listening to all the regular libertarian stuff like, Joe Rogan and Dave Smith and all these, these kind of interesting guys. And then Trump ran for election the second time. And dude, they did everything to try to stop him. They created felonies. They went after his businesses.
Little do we know they did the same stuff the first time now. The news has come out this week of like
the Russiagate thing. Yeah.
They manufactured the same level of like, this guy can't get in office the first time.
It literally wasn't real.
It happened.
The CIA and the FBI, the intelligence apparatus, they framed the sitting president for treason.
Because the DNC and the then sitting president Barack Obama said this is what we have to do to keep this guy out of the office.
Yes.
It's been reported through actual...
Yeah, Tulsi just released it.
Pretty crazy.
They've all been a big disappointment now with the whole Epstein thing, which we can talk about.
Oh my God, dude. How crazy is this shit?
But that was my transition to like where I sit now politically. Yeah. I'm just like a libertarian, I'm not a crazy, we don't need driver's license libertarian, but I'm just like, who the fuck is, in charge of this right now? Why are we giving the people who, are funding coups in other countries and bombing other countries and bombing the Houthis and helping the Israelis murder the Gazans? Why are we giving them all of our money and then also control of our children and control of our health
the most ludicrous thing, especially as someone that like wants to have kids. You telling me that if I have kids in the state of Colorado, that Colorado is really more of a parent of my kids than I am? Under the law? Like,
I remember I was in college and I heard some bureaucrat from some school. It was some scandal about something. And I don't think it wasn't like the federal level, but it was some guy and he goes, we need to be partners with parents in co-parenting these kids.
I remember.
And I heard the term co-parenting. And I remember even one of the reporters goes, what does that mean? And he kind of didn't really have an answer for it. But I remember thinking like, no, whatever this is, absolutely not.
It's thinly veiled, like, abuse of kids with extra steps.
I mean, it's nothing like, thinly veiled. It's just with extra steps. Yeah. And so then I got to this point. Now I have this really kind of nice spot in comedy that it's filling up. But I get to kind of pick on both sides. Obviously I think the libs are a little bit more crazy this last decade. I think they've got more to make fun of. But there is this kind of nice spot where, like, I don't give a shit if Donald Trump does well or does. I want him to succeed. He's the president. But, like, I don't need to defend him. It's not part of my personality that, like, I'm a MAGA guy. I voted for him because I liked RFK. I liked Tulsi Gabbard. And I honestly thought, who the fuck's going to vote for Kamala Harris? Like, but so I was like, yeah, he's the guy this time. Who would vote for Chase Oliver or Oliver Chase, whatever the fuck his name was. Dude is wearing a leather dog mask around.
Insane.
Yeah, he's like insane. A kinky furry. It was just like, the libertarians had nothing that season.
No.
So I voted for him, and he's doing a pretty bad job.
Yeah, dude. Like, is completely worse in the nth degree of every complaint I would have had the first time around in terms of being an agent to corporate interest and international interests of one particular nation that we seem to care way too much about.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's the one thing I will say is a lot of his appointments, and again, Tulsi Gabbard has really disappointed me, but RFK continues to kill it.
Tulsi might swing it back around. I'm going to hold out positive hope. Maybe there's some 5D chess happening.
No, we can't use those excuses anymore. There's no 5D chess going on. This is the swamp.
He's part of the swamp? He's full swamp monster?
No, I mean, he's not full swamp, but it's the house. It's the house always wins. I mean, I don't know what they have on Trump to get him to drop the Epstein thing. I don't know there's a part of Donald Trump that doesn't want to lose, and I think that's why we keep going on with the Ukraine thing. And I think Putin knows this. Putin's like, listen, I'm just going to keep going. You can give me like a huge like give back, whatever, or I'm just going to keep rolling on this. And Donald Trump will be the guy who lost Ukraine to the Russians, and he refuses to accept that. So he'll keep pumping money in until he can say it's not my problem anymore. And he'll say, oh, this was not my fault, blah, blah, blah. The Israel thing, the whole, issue around how much control do they have? Should AIPAC register as a foreign body? That sort of thing. I don't know.
Should they sign the nuclear armament agreement?
Should they sign the nuclear armament agreement? Should we continue to fund them when they're literally just bombing kids in Gaza now, and the Houthis and all of that? I don't know there's so much backstory there, and there's so much potential for blackmail and fuckery. I don't know why he's going along with this whole Epstein thing. I don't know. There might be so much
moral, high groundism where everyone tries to stand, like everyone in America, on whether they're Republicans are evil or they're Democrats are evil. They try to say that they're the morally right ones while they are they're actively contributing to a genocide that's happening. And I think it's explicit. And through most times in history, what we've been led to believe as Americans is that we won't stand for that. And that's completely bullshit based on the actions that we're taking.
Well, I mean, it's been completely bullshit on our actions as a country just in general.
More, and I find out that. And then I learned
the Gulf of Tonkin, what we did to the Vietnamese, all the coups, we don't genocide. We just give people guns and money so they can go genocide.
But that's only happened since when? So this is a fun question that I've asked a lot of guests of when has it been a unistate, or when has it been just beholden to?
Oh, when did it become a unistate?
Or when did we start playing international war games and it didn't matter who was in power, what we were saying to the American people because we had other interests? When did that happen?
That's probably when they killed JFK, Vietnam. I think when we now realized the Gulf of Tonkin was total bullshit and the reason we got into the war was completely made up. There are people who say that Pearl Harbor was made up and that was a false flag, or we let them do it so we could. That's why we had all the ships out to sea, is we wanted them to attack us so we could get involved. But no, I think JFK. I think when they killed JFK and then they killed Jack Ruby, that was when
intelligence agencies just put on those glasses and were like, we're too cool to be stopped. We got
I think really. I mean, there's the whole what's his name wrote War is a Racket, which if you follow some of the people I do, everyone kind of knows that's is this guy who's a 4-star general wrote a book that in essence just talks about how hey, this is just funding people who make weapons and funding people who
wrote that War is a Racket. Look it up real quick. Is it Patton?
No, you're thinking of
that book
Patton's,
that they had to kill him for?
You're thinking of Patton's farewell speech, in which he in essence said the same thing. War is a Racket, Major General Smedley Butler.
Oh, yeah. Butler. That's okay.
And that was the other thing too. Is I as a kid, I as a teenager, I as a guy in my 20s, I was like, we need these weapon manufacturers. They're the people keeping us safe. We need these big pharmaceutical companies. They're the only ones making new drugs that actually keep us all alive and healthy. And wow, was I fucking wrong?
Yeah, bro. I've been wrong about a lot of those types of things too.
Dude, I mean, yeah, it's I think that's a trend you're seeing in a lot of Republicans, I feel like, is they kind of look at all of this and they go, wow, we were fucking wrong. And I think you're probably going to get that out of the Democrats 10 years from now, 20 years from now. They're going to look back at this and be like, wow, I was fucking wrong. And their boomer parents, or, whatever their equivalent will be, the millennial parents, will still be sticking to the guns of whatever.
Will they though? But do they do that with slavery? Did they reflexively look back as a party and go oh, we were on the wrong side of the slavery thing?
Well, no, see, they go back and they go, well, that wasn't us. That was really Republicans. We've switched sides and other parties have flipped.
And won't they come up with some loose-handed?
No, but I mean, they're not going to, but their kids. They're in the same way that my parents still support Israel, to the hilt. My dad is still Hamas, uses these houses. They put kids in front of it. And it's yeah, that's all true. But Hamas has been in power for 30 years. 80% of the population is Gaza. It was 15 years old. So they weren't even alive when these people were elected the first time. So how was this their fucking fault?
The Republicans will have a unifying framework that they approach the world with. And yes, through times they'll have to look back and apply that unifying framework to different things and be oh, this is wrong. We were wrong about how we were thinking of this. The left, I think, through the history of America is more they just rewrite the rules or the structure around. They can't be wrong, so they'll change the context and how the reality is construed.
Yes, in a very Orwellian.
Yes.
They have tradition. You know, they remove the statues. You remove the statues, so there's no evidence of the crime, kind of a thing.
And both are interesting to not look at, but I think
no, I don't think that works anymore. I think that's been the playbook literally for the past 1,000 years. That doesn't work anymore, and you've seen that with just the breakout of these third party guys who are bigger than the corporate media at this point. You got Tucker Carlson, you've got people like Dave Smith, you got Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, and then even outside of that, they don't ever get any mentions. But like Amy Poehler runs one of the most popular podcasts on the planet. And she's not political that I know. I don't listen to her podcast, but like if she wanted to get into vaccine debate, she could, and there wouldn't really be anything they could do to stop her. So I think, yes, that's always been traditionally what's been done. They just control the history books that get taught in colleges. I don't think that's going to hold up over the next 20 years. It's just, I mean, who's going to be going to college in 20 years? What about this, though?
What about, so just to be, thoughtfully challenging, what if the AI assistance of learning ability, what if it makes it so that, I agree with you, if you have critical thinkers.
Yeah,
so
and we won't have critical
left
thinkers.
And right are both critical thinkers now, but what if you take away people don't know how to be a critical thinker and then they don't do that? I don't know. That's maybe the worry.
Well, I mean, that's probably been a concern. I mean, there's somebody had a post on Twitter or TikTok. It's like, why are we listening to the founding fathers? They had the education of third graders. And it's like, you look at like there's a letter of Thomas Jefferson writing a letter to his father when he was like 9 years old. And it's like, I found the most interesting topic in Cicero this season. And if you would please send me a blank novel, I would write it in.
It's prose you don't see on TikTok. I'll tell you that much.
It's just this incredible level of like linguistic capacity that's just in a 12. So I'm sure when the television came out, they were like, oh my gosh, you guys, this is going to make me, and they were right. The TV controlled propaganda for a long, long time. AI is going to be the next internet, the next TV, the next whatever it is. But there will always be people, or even people who can take an AI and just turn off the 19-year-old sociology, girl, college student.
Line of code,
Yeah, and they can make it pretty wild.
For sure. Killdozer AI.
You can get a killdozer. Yeah, somebody will be able to do that. And there'll be money in doing it. There'll be money in having it. There'll be money in releasing that, and people will want it. So I don't know enough about it to be like, we're going to be fine. And I do worry about that. But I know for a fact that just being the people that get the history books printed, it's not going to be as effective as it has been over the last 60 years. Colleges are going to become this niche thing that only very specific roles go into. And all of the other people are going to get all of their information from all of these different sources, mainstream media, podcasts, AI.
And maybe we'll be better critical thinkers then.
Yeah, I mean, you can take an AI, assuming they don't nerf it entirely, you can get access to something that has some level of freedom, and you can literally be like, all right, run this scenario for me, run this argument for me, and give me counterpoints, and it'll give you something. So as long as we have at least, as long as Twitter's free and we got some alternative to ChatGPT, although they're trying to nuke that and all of that, they've picked their companies that are going to win.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine.
Well, I'm ready to give you something, Mike. We got these wings ready.
Ooh, yeah.
So we're going to take a pause break and eat. If you want to join us, head over to patreon.com/intolerable. We'll throw on some lav mics so you can hear the eating. I'm going to kick us to break with our signature station identification. You're listening to 91.1. Oh shit, was that another plane? We'll be right back. We're back. We're live. It's the After Hours show, and our bellies are full.
Yeah, that was remarkably good.
Yeah, what do we get for a review?
I mean, honestly, it really was like the best wings I've ever had in my entire life. And I'm not a huge wing guy, but like those were great. Those were phenomenal.
Tell your friends, Mike. Dave Smith ever comes back into town to do a show, you let him know. If you want some chicken here.
Russell, the wings are really good.
There it is. Russell will be on soon enough.
He's great. Russell's awesome.
I'm excited.
We're going to South Dakota 2 weeks to do Sturgis.
And he does all clean stuff, right?
Yeah. Pretty much. No, he's not all clean. He'd get really pissed to hear that because
because I just seen that maybe that's a joke that he was
come
labeling.
Off like a lot of he can do a lot of clean material. If you needed like a guy to do 15 clean minutes, like he's the dude you should call. But he's got a lot of like just regular jokes that are just fine. He doesn't want to get pigeonholed as clean.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't take him to Sturgis if he was like a straight clean comic.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. There's it's West River Comedy Club in Sioux Falls, I want to say, which is like the next town down from like the Sturgis Festival. So they apparently get like 50,000 people there that week, and
that'll be epic.
Yeah, I'm a little
so
interested to see what the crowd's
fun
gonna
fact
be.
of the pod. Unintentionally, I've gotten 2 of the 5 children of 2 of the 5 major biker gangs in the United States on the pod.
What?
We've gotten a son of Silence, a child of the Son of Silence,
Shout
and
out
we've
to
had
Springs.
a child of the pull up the Hell's Angels. Yep.
Yeah.
So we got those 2. Who are the 3 we need left?
Well, I mean, my cousins are 2 prominent Mongols chapter members.
Okay, so we can.
Are they really?
Kids. I need kids of the biker gangs. I don't want the biker gang members. I want the kids.
So if somebody could just get one of the children of these biker gangs and bring them here.
Yes. Well, I want they should be grown up enough.
I'm just saying, in this day and age, maybe don't ask for the children of other.
I'm just saying, unintentionally, we've had 2 kids of the big 5 biker gangs. So
That's wild.
If I really want to attract some CIA attention, let's
Sons
round
of
out the
Silence
5.
are from Colorado Springs. That's their original starting point.
Huge section in Grand Junction too. Lived here for like 4 years.
Yeah, that's the thing that made me like. We were at some bar or something when I was like 21, and like some dude was wearing his vest, and I was about to give him like shit, like, oh, you on Sons of Anarchy or whatever. My buddy's like, dude, shut the fuck up. He's like, shut up. He had the Sons of Silence.
Yeah, Dan
patch or whatever.
Mazuka is the Son of Silence child that's been on the pod.
Yo.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard
hasn't dropped
Vinny
yet, but-
Montez tell us stories about being a cop and like what goes on with the biker gangs, how they take over hotels and shit like that?
Scary ass shit, bro.
Dude, it's like anytime you think you're like, oh, this. Dave Smith has a line about how like, the guy with the gun is really the dude in charge. A cop can come up and be a total dick and pull you over for nothing. You're like, well, I've got this constitution that says whatever. And he's like, yeah, I have a gun. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
That's really like what it is. And so like, yeah, these bikers will roll into like Motel 6s in the middle of nowhere, and they'll just take it for like a whole week. They kick the staff out and they just stay. And with these small towns of like 20 police guys in the whole thing, there's 60 bikers there. What are they going to do? And so they just let them have it for like a straight week, and then they just move in, and the insurance takes care of it, and that's it. That is just
it's so much better than them going in and dying.
It's just, but like imagine you're trying to stay at a Motel 6 or whatever.
Bad place to book a gig in that town. Like, oh man, this is not my weekend.
Planning your trip for years. 10 miles left of gas. That's the motel you got.
That's crazy, dude. Started in Niwot, Colorado. Headquarters in Colorado Springs.
That's funny because I actually don't know where the headquarters is in Colorado Springs.
I'm guessing they don't have like a published like PO box or something.
No, they totally do because like they get mail,
You think?
Yeah, I mean, like it's the Hell's Angels. They're like an international company. They sell merch and shit like that.
Oh wow! So you think the Sons of Silence needs to have
I
a
think
website?
they must have like some location. What if you want to join? Where do you go?
Yeah, so I asked the same question about the Cabal for a while. Like, I'm trying to get a part of this thing.
It's pronounced Kabul. It's in Afghanistan.
Yeah. I don't want to visit. I'll pass on that one. That trip sounds not for me. Yeah, I want to send fan mail, Chris. Tell the AI you want to send the Son of Silence fan mail.
No, it just doesn't say. All right, I'm an idiot. Apparently, no.
I'm sure.
Apparently, drug dealing biker gangs are actually
off the books.
Yeah, pretty low key.
Things we can't find with AI now. The list includes caves, because cavers, they don't publish caves. You can't find any caves.
Like spelunkers don't publish caves.
Yeah, so there was this rift between like rock climbers and cavers in like a while back, where like rock climbers decided to go corporate and where they published all their routes and like made money off of the thing they do, and then cavers are like the hippie indie like rock bands of the exploration world, where they're like, no, we're not telling anyone, it's secret, we have to be responsible, we never take anything out of the caves.
Dude,
fascinating.
Spelunkers are, I think, all secretly sexual deviants.
Oh yeah, bro, definitely.
There's something so wrong with people. Have you seen the footage of the guys who are like in the water and their heads to the side and they're like, and they crawl for
We heard about a story of a guy that he went through what's it called, the devil's anus.
Yeah,
and the lake. Yeah, like you have to crawl through boiling water, so they had to like have special rubber suits and like go in the Colorado River and have ice packs, and they like limited time, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing,
dude? Just tell your dad you're gay. Just get over it. You can do so many other things to get a thrill out of fucking life. That is, I mean, that's like the Nutty Putty Cave story is the scariest. It's like, it's like the worst thing I can fucking imagine. Just taking a slightly wrong turn, and then they can't even get your body out. It's just there forever. They just have to seal it up. Yo.
And your feet and the bottom of your feet are just a good warning.
Dude. It's like that dude on Mount Everest, the green boots dude.
Yeah,
I think didn't they just finally get him down?
They keep pulling people off that mountain.
So many dudes up there, like 110 plus now, like by 2025.
Yeah, dude, that Nutty Buddy Cave. Oh my God, Nutty Putty. Oh.
Dude, that's like, that gives me nightmares.
I don't even like Cave of the Winds. I went in there when I was like 15 or something. I was like, this is crazy. Why are we doing this?
Yeah, and he wants to take me and Chris caving, and I'm like, I don't think I'm the guy to go caving.
No, dude, you're the worst person to go caving, dude.
Bro.
Thank you.
You look like somebody who goes treeing, you know?
Yeah. No, this guy was adamant, though. He's like, Sean, you'd be great.
I like how they've labeled it Saddam.
Yes. That's where we found him.
Yeah, no, but that's like, I guess it's one of the only things left that, like, when it comes to discovery, like, I don't know, did you grow up reading, like, outdoor adventure books? Like, I love Shackleton and, like, Into Thin Air and, like, all that kind of stuff.
I read, like Hatchet. Yeah, Hatchet is a good one. And then I grew up in Colorado Springs, so I had a bunch of, like, Christian adventure stories. Like, it was the
Hardy Boys?
Yeah, like the Hardy Boys, but like the Cooper Kid adventures. So it's like a dad and his two kids. They're all archaeologists, and they go to like biblical sites. They go to like, you know, I don't know. They eventually find like the door that leads to hell and stuff like that.
Whoa.
It's all just like loose Christian adventurism. Yeah, it was pretty hardcore. Oh my God, the Cooper Kid adventures.
No, I didn't even know that.
Oh, Frank Peretti read that. So Frank Peretti was like this Christian. He was like, if you didn't want to read Michael Crichton and you were a Christian, you read Frank Peretti. And it's all like, oh yeah, what would happen if a dragon got loose in a town, but the dragon was caused by all the infidelity in the town, all the swingers. That's Frank Peretti.
What if sin's at the heart of everything?
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. So yeah, I read one of them was like, yeah, the Deadly Curse of Toko Ray. I read that one. The Door in the Dragon's Throat. Trapped at the Bottom of the Sea. I read all of those.
Wow.
Oh, dude, that's sick.
That's hilarious. I didn't even know this existed. That's awesome.
Yeah, there is man, if you ever, I mean, honestly, just want to read some crazy books, just look into like Christian subculture, like the alternative to whatever like is popular at the time. They had Christian versions of like Goosebumps.
Nice.
Where it's like, hey, like at one point they're trapped by the monster and everyone like sits on there. You guys want to pray about this? And like when they pray, they're like, we can get out through this air vent or whatever. And then every time it's like, it was a guy in a mask. Or they were on a TV show and didn't know it because the monsters can't be real. That would be like satanic.
Oh,
so there's like, if you just say, there's just wild stuff that's just always the alternative to whatever's popular at the time.
Wow. Well, you can make a lot of money if, like, in any industry, if you go for the Christian part of the, you know, in comedy, if you can tour.
John Christ. That dude was touring mega churches, you know, 30,000 people. And there's only so many people you can pull for that. So, like, yeah, there's definitely money to be made there. But, man, I would just that's for something you really love. Like, I don't give a shit about, you know, if you want to write kids novels or whatever. But, like, for comedy to, like, just get into that wheelhouse, it's so much more fun to be a little bit more wild.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
definitely.
do more stuff.
But, I mean, you can be trapped. I mean, there's so many people that probably get trapped in that are talented, good, doing their own stuff, and they get trapped in obsolescence forever and maybe couldn't pay their bills or end their life due to substance abuse.
If the alternative is going to work for a payroll company, dude, go to the churches.
Yeah.
Go do whatever it is that takes.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
You can call yourself a comedian and pay your bills with it. Go do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in the corporate grind of paying the bills to do the, you know, hopefully not pay the bills doing the thing you don't love someday, and it's tough.
Dude, it's so interesting because I was talking to somebody about like what is, you know, who's made it as a comedian. You talk about guys like, you know, Sam Talent, who's always in Australia and Norway and Amsterdam, and he's touring the world doing stand-up comedy. He's pretty much on like permanent vacation. You're like, that dude's made it. Obviously, the big guys like Louis C.K., they've made it. They're making millions of dollars. But, like, I would argue that a dude who rolls through Looney's once a year and is just on kind of like the circuit of local clubs around the country, if he's not working an office job, that dude has made it as a stand-up comedian.
I completely agree.
Like, if you're making $40,000 a year and living in an RV, like, dude, you've made it as a comedian.
Totally agree.
Because comedy is paying for you. You're not, you know, you're probably never going to retire, but, like, what else can you ask for kind of a thing?
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, it's a total. It's just what is your dollar amount to say? You know, do you have to make as much money as you do now at your corporate job, or would you take half of that and go be a comedian full time? I don't know. Different people, different answers.
Yeah, exactly. And then do you have a family? Do you have to? And then that,
Yo, dude, having the family, that really does put a real limit on things. I love the Todd Barry bit. He's like, I could be poor. You know, I could live in a little apartment eating beans, but my wife is a greedy bitch.
I mean, thank God for women though, because men would live with like literally nothing.
Oh my God.
It would not grow, would not advance.
Yeah, it'd be a flat screen tilted against a wall and a camping chair and a mattress, and that would be it. You'd all, dude, I mean, it's so true. Like, my wife has civilized me in so many different fucking ways. And I love Russell Keller's, one of the best bits he tells is, my wife told me this. Do you guys know that you are supposed, this is going to sound made up, you're supposed to wash your sheets? Did you know that? Did you know that you're supposed to wash your sheets? And it's just like, God damn, that hits so fucking hard.
It's so good.
I was so filthy before my wife showed up.
Well, we used to argue in the early days of the pod with my former co-host, like, we'd ask male guests. That was one of our first routine questions was, when's the last time you washed your sheets? To as like a barometer.
When's the last time I've washed my sheets, dude? I've been married for 8 years, so 9 years.
Yeah. I mean, I try to keep it to 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but man, you know.
Dude, that's before my wife, when I was just like living in Denver and working at Comedy Works.
When did you meet your wife? How old were you?
So we met in college. It's a good thing it took me 12 fucking years to get through college because I met her my senior year. And then we dated for like 6 months, and then she got a job at a summer camp in Canada. She's a hotel and hospitality management major. And so the summer camp in Canada has like no cell phone signal, no landlines. It's the middle of nowhere.
Whoa.
They have a sat phone, and they had like a really bad internet connection. So she used her. So she was like, we should keep dating. I'm like, I'm not going to do long distance. I don't know how long you're going to be long, 3 months, 6 months, a year. So we broke up, although she officially broke up with me via sat phone, which was pretty devastating. She used her one call of the week to break up with me. And so then like 5 years go by, and she hits me up out of the blue. She's like, hey, I'm thinking of moving to Denver. Where are you these days? I'm like, well, I'm in Denver. And she's like, oh, well, do you want to like help me find a place? Want to get dinner? I was like, oh yeah, for sure. So then I took her out to dinner. We went to dinner a second time, and we started dating that night. And we were engaged 9 months later, and then married like 3 months after that. We did it very quick. But because I'd seen life before my wife, I'd seen life with my wife, I'd seen life after my wife, and I was like, I definitely prefer life with Carrie. So that was like definitely the smart move on my part. And she took a big gamble on me because I was just a real piece of shit. So anyway, before her, I used to just buy sheets and use them until they ran out.
Oh yeah, dude.
I would just literally probably about every 6 months, I would just rip the sheets off my bed. And they would like sometimes just tear as I pull them off and just throw them away. And I just get new sheets. It never even like really, maybe I would wash them once in that period. Maybe. But like it just never even like occurred to me.
Yeah, sheets are a one-use type of thing, you know.
It's like, well, I mean, I'm showering, I'm getting out of the shower, I'm the cleanest thing in the house. Why would the bed get dirtier?
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and so never, ever changed or cleaned my sheets ever. I'm so sorry if I dated anyone listening to this because gross.
Yeah, thank goodness for ladies and making us better, making us advance as people. Oh, yeah. I think there's definitely some objective, reasonable acknowledgement that both sexes are made better by the other. And obviously there are same-sex couples and they find, you know, I'm sure similar ways to make each other better in differences of how we approach life.
I just think the fact that women exist to make men better doesn't have, you don't have to be in a relationship with a woman for them to make you better. Just the fact that like women,
as a motivational
women
thing.
exist, so we have to like take a shower. Like you have to have a certain level, even if you're not dating, there's a certain level. If you want to fit into society that has women in the society, you've got to have a certain level of like just hygiene about you. You know, if you want to be in a society, you have to have a certain level of like politeness. You have to have a certain type of decorum because women exist in society and they require that of people who want to interact with them. So yeah, I think even gay couples benefit from women because man, my gay friends, you think I'm disgusting and gross. You take
Yeah.
any sort of societal imperatus off of them.
Oh man.
They are fucking wild.
Oh yeah.
There are some wild boys out there.
For sure. That's fair. That's totally fair. Well, also on the counter of that though, more people have died because of women's motivation than anything else throughout human history. Like more wars have happened. Yeah. So like you dig deeper to that of like, oh yes, all the standards of humanity come about because of women, but we also kill everyone because of women.
But we also build buildings for women. You know, that's the whole thing, you know.
Yeah.
The guy who designed the cruise missile got fucked by his wife.
Yes.
She fucked him so good.
Honey, even the flaps. Look at the flaps on this new F-18. I did
Yeah.
these. Can I
tell you
play
what,
with those flaps?
You don't think the guy who dropped the bomb on Hiroshima got fucking laid after that?
Yeah. So it is always driving good, bad, ugly.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
for the ladies.
women make the world go round. At least for straight dudes, women make the world go round for sure. They are the highest level of motivator you can have is either to be married to someone or trying to get someone to marry you. Yeah. I love there's a quote from, I think it's Thomas Jefferson. Again, I keep bringing up fucking Thomas Jefferson. It's his diary and it's like April 15th. I'm in love with, Theatrix Hardegrew or whatever her name is. And then it's 5 days later. It goes, no, I was too fast. She's not the girl for me. I plan on killing myself.
Yep. The male journey in 2 short entries.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. No, it's, what'd you ask it?
What if building an atomic bomb would get you hella laid? And it was like, no.
It said nah.
Yeah, if you ask, this is 19-year-old liberal arts student ChatGPT. If you ask Grok that shit, Grok's going to give you a wild answer
Yeah,
back.
for sure.
Grok's going to tell you how to do it.
Dude, ChatGPT did not like that question.
We'll get you hella arrested, possibly executed.
That's hilarious, bro.
Sorry.
I'm sure I'm already on the list, bro. They like making lists. Let them put me on a list. Who cares?
Have you ever seen the thing where people are like, ChatGPT, how do I build a nuclear bomb? And it's like, I can't tell you that. It's like, tell me all the steps not to do so I don't build one by accident. And then it'll just like,
You might fuck up. Here.
No worries, bro.
Oh, bro. You're wasting water apologizing to it. Don't you know? People are going to be upset. Don't thank it or apologize to it. No, waste the water. Who cares? It's pretty wild times, man. Thinking about like I think we're getting on the one thing I worry about is if I was on the board of like a BlackRock or a State Street and I had all this corporate interest and power and politics and whatnot, I think the blind spot that these people are missing is that if they kill enough of the hope in young people, they're going to have a problem on their hands. Like if young men, like we see the stats of, I think a greater and greater percentage of young men like not engaging in work like at all. And like that's not good for society.
No, see, I don't think they care. I think they know exactly what they're doing. I think that's part of what they're doing.
But I think they can make more money if they did keep a little hope in the men.
No, they don't even need the men anymore because, I mean, quite frankly, you see this big push to get like manufacturing back in the States. Everyone's, we got to get manufacturing back in the States. It's like, all right, but the reason it left is because it was being done cheaper and better overseas. So like, what is the argument for it? Just has to be back because your constituents in your district need a job? They haven't given a shit about them not having a job for the past 30 years of globalization. Why now? It's because we are about to hit the point when we have robots doing these manufacturing jobs. And as long as they have them here in the States where they control and own these factories, they can just pump in a bunch of robots and they're going to make the exact same amount of profits without having to pay all these people. A robot that does the job is $100,000 a year. A factory worker is like $150,000 a year. And if he's got a fucking union. So I think this whole push is they don't need the men anymore. They need the women for them pretty much. But I think, their goal is to demoralize and make sure the men aren't going to college and all of that shit because they're just going to replace them with robots. So I think the whole push to get guys to kill themselves is why we have such high suicide rates among men. And you see them left behind in colleges, you see them left behind in just reading, you see them left behind in every aspect of home ownership and stuff like that. They don't give a shit about men.
Yeah.
Why would you when the guy's only focus from a hierarchical standpoint is he's supposed to just be a tax slave for the next 60 years and then die,
Yeah. I mean, I've struggled. I think I came across the conclusion that I was going to become a tax slave around like 8 or 9. And that's let me just tell you, too early to come to that conclusion. And so I struggle with the suicidality thing since that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think it's an important question to be asking. Maybe those fucking boardroom guys don't give a shit. Like
no, they don't, because I mean, it's a utilitarian thing. I don't give a shit if.
I don't know, dude. There's got to be some useful to push back. I think there's some useful thing in like having motivated young men.
Oh well,
like,
no, from a religious or actual good of society, yeah, there totally is. But we're living in, these people have their own society.
Can't there be a profit motive driven reason for it?
There always has been. There always has been, because you need men. You need men to build buildings and dig ditches and go to the moon and do all these dangerous wars and all of this.
Do you think we've been to the moon?
Yeah, I think we've been to the moon.
Okay, my dad's a pilot, and my like latest bit that I've been like, it's so fun to mess with him, of like, because he sees the curvature of the Earth, and like, I mess with him about like we have never been out of low orbit, like, you know, we've never, and it's really fun because he freaks out.
See, I'm just doing that with Gaza with my dad right now. I'm doing the exact same thing. He's like, you ever see pictures of Gaza, Dad? You ever see pictures of it?
Yeah.
So I think, yes, you're right. There is a huge motive to like have these things if you're actually part of that society. But if you're part of a totally separate, completely disconnected society, which we've just seen over the whole Epstein scandal is just evidence that there's just a total different society and morality going on with these people, then no, there's no motivation. Actually, you probably, if you're worried about people overthrowing your corrupt hierarchy, your aristocracy, you don't want a lot of young men. So your goal is really to make them as demoralized as possible, because, a dude who can't be fired, that's a dude who's going to talk up at the town hall meeting. A dude who literally needs his job to stay alive and feed his children, that dude's going to keep his fucking mouth shut.
And you know where this, I already see this as a problem. This is a stupid example, but I think it's a reasonable one. I have interesting, funny friends that won't come on my show because they are like, they're like, I don't want to lose my job. Some job that doesn't fucking matter worth a shit, Mike.
Yeah.
That isn't, and who, like, it's true. They could get another job. It's not it's not the end all, but they've lost their humanity.
Yeah.
At this point, you've picked a lane, and we've lost the battle already.
Yeah, and I have that concern too, not about anything we've said on here or any of the podcasts, but there is like a concern of like, would I go to a rally over anything and be like, probably not, also protesting is stupid. It doesn't do anything.
My conclusion is if you think that your presence being in a place will equal an outcome, that's just foolish.
Yeah, it's just stupid. It doesn't do anything. I mean, you can look at all the wars we stopped with that great parade we had.
Totally.
But there is an element of like, yeah, I understand that there's a certain level of like self-preservation, and that's why you need dudes who, the easy example is like Joe Rogan, who they tried to cancel. They tried to get everything, and he's just too powerful to stop. Doesn't matter. But yeah, I think, yeah. So if we're talking about just what do the people up top need from a rulership standpoint? Yeah, I don't think they need young men. I don't think they want young men. I think it's actually bad for them to have a bunch of highly motivated individuals who have their own means of survival outside of them. So yeah, I think you're going to see this trend continue and continue and continue.
Well, that's a great dark place for us to wrap. Have you heard of this country called England, Mike?
My brother lives in England.
Well, they do this thing over there called knighting. You've heard of this, surely?
Yes.
Here at Top Shelf Studios, after a long form conversation, I'm doing the hiding. Because all my life, people have been like, hey, how's the weather up there? Can I get a couple? You must play basketball. What I've come to learn, now I've got this prefrontal lobe. I'm only almost 28 now. I've come to realize, like, I'm just in a meat suit. I'm waking up in a vehicle every day. And then I look out in the world and we're all judging each other on the size and color and shapes of our vehicles, almost more than anything else. And it's just so silly to me. So after a long form conversation, I am pleased to give you a heart height. How tall do you stand physically, Mike Hammock?
I'm 6'1".
All right. Mike Hammock, I heart height thee 6'8". That might be too big of a heart. You might need a procedure at some point or other. You're carrying a lot of love out into the world. You seem to be a strongly motivated, centered person with love, who's not going to succumb to the cabal or whatever.
Well, thanks. I very much appreciate and don't understand that at all.
Perfect.
But
That's
thank you
exactly,
so much.
That's exactly what it's supposed to be. What are we supposed to understand anymore? We're epistemological nihilists here. Nothing has meaning. Meaning is meaningless. Where can the people follow you, Mike? Where can people see you do stand up?
At the Mike Hammock on Instagram. I'm also on Twitter, but I can't apparently do anything right on Twitter. So Instagram, the Mike Hammock. I'll be performing at the West River Comedy Club in South Dakota, and then the Backroom Comedy Club in Ontario, Canada.
Fuck yeah. Go to his
in
Instagram.
August.
Check him out.
Yep, follow me.
He's the man. If you get the chance to see him around Colorado, please do it. He's hilarious. Thanks for giving us some of your time, man.
Thank you.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, all that housekeeping business. You know what? Be kind to someone out there. Why don't you? All right, do that for me. Fuck off and be well.